In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the AC condenser in this Toyota Prius. Let's get into it. Before you start this job, you want to make sure you bring the vehicle to a local shop to have the AC refrigerant removed from the vehicle so it's safe for you to work on. In the trunk, remove this panel, twist these locks, pull this up, out of the way, grab this trunk bucket, just slide it out. This cover right here, just pop this up, slide that out. Disconnect the negative terminal, use a 10mm wrench. Slide that off and out of the way. Take this shield off, there's some push pins. I'm going to use a pick, get in the center, and then pop it out. You can always also use a trim tool or even a Phillips head screwdriver. Sometimes they break. Just using a trim tool. And grab this panel, just slide it off. Take these push pins out. Just using a trim tool. There should be a couple of screws right there and there. Take those out. There is rubber bushings that go around there, and that can move forward slightly. Just going to use a pick and just scribe where the latch is. You could use a marker as well. Right there. You can scribe over here as well. Try not to dig into the paint. You don't want it rusting, but just a little scratch. Using a 10mm socket, loosen these bolts up. You could use a wrench. I'll just switch to a ratchet wrench. Take those out. Using a 10mm wrench right here, take this bolt out. Take that bolt out. You can move this out a little bit. And we're going to take that bolt out. 10mm wrench. All right, that's separated. Using a 12mm socket, just pull this back a little bit. You can use a wrench as well. Take this bolt out. And just be careful with the horn. Pull that out. And just slowly put it down. You don't want to put a hole in the condenser. On the sides, take the two bolts out. Use a 10mm socket. Again, you could use a ratchet wrench if you don't want to pry that back too far. Take the two upper bolts out, 10mm socket. Take this bracket off. I'm going to use a 12mm socket. just loose like that. Using a 12mm socket, take this bracket off. Oh, that one just broke. Using a 12mm socket, take the 2 bolts out on the inside of this bracket. Slide that off, grab the bracket, slide it up. If it's clipped in where the cable goes, unclip it. Take this bolt out, use a 10mm socket. That out. Another one right here, take that out, same 10mm socket. That one broke. You want to take these brackets off the top of the radiator, use an 8mm socket, take these bolts out. That one's just spinning. And those are just spinning. But you want to take those out. Use a Phillips head screwdriver. Take these screws out. Just using some locking pliers to get this one out. It's stripped a little bit. Slide that out. Then you can take this mount off and do the same on the other one. Long Phillips head screwdriver, you can get the lower screws right in the front. Or if you have a short one, you can reach down in there. Take those 2 screws out. Ours are severely rusted, so we had to cut them, but you should be able to get those out. I'm going to disconnect the 2 fittings that go to the condenser. Use a 10mm socket, take these bolts out. And the bolt down below as well. Grab the lines, just wiggle those off. Slide it back and pop the lower one off. Grab the condenser and slide it right up. We're going to transfer these clips over to the new one. Just use a straight blade screwdriver. And these just slide out, just like that. Same on this one. Just slides out. I'm going to take this clip and slide it on the new one. This is going to go on the top. Do the same on this one. The threaded part is going to go towards the back. So if this is the front, that is on the back side. Just give it a slight tap. Be careful, you don't want to bend anything. So that looks good. Before we put the condenser in, we want to add 1.4 ounces of AC oil, the appropriate type for that vehicle. So measure out 1.4 ounces. It's a good idea to replace these AC O-rings. Just take a pick and you can take them off. And then just use a little bit of AC oil and lubricate the O-rings. Slide the condenser in. We want at the base where those holes are to line up with those brackets down below. Right there and right there. Get those to line up. And just push it down in place. Looks good. Get the bottom hose on first. Get that lined up. Slide it in. Get the bolt. Snug that down. I'll do the top one. Get that lined up. Put the bolt in. Snug that down. We can torque those to 47 inch-pounds. Get the bolts on from underneath. Get those started. I'll snug that down and do the same on the other side. Take these brackets, line these up, get the bolt started for the screw. Tighten that down. Put the two bolts here. We're putting screws because our bolts were broken, but you should have the two 8mm bolts. Tighten those down, snug those up. And do the same on the other side. Put these rubber bushings on, push those down. Put the bolts in for the fan, get those started. Do that on both sides. Snug those down, reach down below, grab the horn that you set aside, get that lined up. Snug that down and put the bolts in for the bracket. Snug those down. Tighten those down. And do the same on the other side. Put the bolts in for the latch. Snug that down. There we go. Those are all in there. Try to get this lined up as close to your scratch marks or marks as possible. Snug those down. It's good. At this point, you can lower the hood and just make sure that it's close to where the latch is, where the catch is, and it is, you're good. So adjust accordingly. Take this bracket, take the bolts, get those started. And there should be one more bolt there. Ours is broken. Tighten those down. Those are tight. Put this bracket in place. And we'll tighten those down. Snug those down and put this cover on, line it up. Take the push pins, get those all started, and lock them down. And the push pins on the front bumper, push those in, lock them down. After you're done the repair, you want to bring the vehicle back to the shop that you had the refrigerant removed from and have them recharge the system. Connect the negative battery terminal. Use the wrench. Snug that down, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Take this cover, slide it in place. And put this basket in. And this cover is going to go on top. Lock it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.